Alright, here we go. The journey of a 5'7" Asian playing at the collegiate level. Ever since high school, I knew that playing at a pro level for basketball is going to be very difficult to earn as a living. And I know that because of my size at 5'7", that makes it just that much more difficult. I've been kind of realistic with myself. I know my capabilities. I know what I'm able to do on the court. And playing at the college level has always been a dream of mine to pursue. So leading in my high school years, I was always a injury-prone athlete. I have been having dozens of ankle sprains per leg. So I probably had 20 plus ankle sprains. I was always dealing with cramps frequently, and those kind of factors has always limited my ability to flourish in the game, as well as showing myself and my teammates what I can do on the court. Although I had a pretty good first step, I wasn't the most athletic on the court. I wasn't jumping out of the building. I could barely touch the backboard. Having those factors against me is always very difficult to play at a high level. My final year of high school, I was pretty fortunate that I did not have any injuries. I was finally able to play for the full season, and it really allowed me to showcase my skills. I was finally able to show what I can do on the court, and that final year of high school, I think I averaged around 25 to 30 points per game, which really helps me build my self-confidence before going into college, thinking that I would probably have a good shot at playing at the collegiate level. And I decided to do university at the UK for physiotherapy. And once I got to the UK and went into a pickup run, things were a little different than what I expected. It was a pretty big jump for me. I was not able to handle the physicality at all. I was getting pushed around a lot. Screens were harder than usual. I got a neck sprain from it, just from hitting hard into the screen. I wasn't really physically ready for it. Even though I was relatively skilled in comparison to them, their stature being at 6'2" to 6'5", a simple bump from them was all they needed to do in order to get a basket on me. Taking shots against them was very difficult for me, as well as defending them. And I knew I was in no shape to play against them, being at 5'7" and around 125 pounds. And finally, once the team trial was here, I remember vividly that there were two courts. There was one court that was for the weaker players, and there was one court for the stronger players where the coach would put them there in order to test out their abilities. And for the whole trial, I was only on the weaker side. I was never put on the stronger side. The coach did not really acknowledge me at all, even though I was trying to do what I can to get her attention, but clearly I didn't. And at that time, I knew that my weakness was my physical strength, my weight, that was holding me back from showcasing my skills. I really dedicated a lot of time into the weight room. I was going there for about 4 to 6 times a week. 2 months passed by after the tryouts, and I was still hooping at some pickup runs just for fun, casually, because I already thought I had no chance to make the team. And somehow the coach turned up to one of the pickup runs, and I was doing pretty well against some of the players that were there, and I think that really got her attention, and so I was able to finally get onto the team. And throughout that process, I went from being a second team bench player to becoming a starter on second team. And in the first game debut as a starter, I remember hitting a game winner against Cambridge. And finally, in my third year, I was able to become a starter. And throughout the 3 years, maybe not including the second year because it was COVID, I was really consistent with my lifts even during COVID. At home, I tried to find things to keep my body in tune, maintain my body strength, and try to be in shape in case the season does come back. I really took care of my nutrition. I used the knowledge that I got from my physio degree, PG, which was a big part of my player success, as well as some of the strength and conditioning knowledge that I've got. And those 3 factors were really huge in terms of how I got from 125 pounds to 155 while becoming more explosive, jumping higher, and becoming stronger. And in my final third year, I wasn't really the most skillful player. What got me the most minutes was because of my durability. My teammates were getting injured left and right. There was a point in the season where I think around 4 to 5 players were injured. The strength work that I did during the season was what made it possible. And the whole basketball team, I don't think more than 5 people go to the gym, and even if they do, I don't think they've went to the gym more than 2 to 3 times a week. Another reason that I got a lot of minutes was because of my defense, and that definitely just came from the weight room being stronger, having a stronger side core, having greater hip mobility, and being able to play fast on the feet. So the point being, if you're currently in high school or transitioning into playing in college, or even if you're in college, what should you prioritize, right? Should you prioritize hoops, or should you prioritize the strength work? If you were to ask me 10 years ago while I was a teenager, I think all teenagers would definitely pick basketball. But if I was able to turn back the clock and advise on my younger self, I would definitely dedicate time to both basketball and the strength work. The basketball work is really, really important in order to improve your software, which is your skills, your touch, your footwork, etc. The hardware, which is your physical body, your strength, your size, the way you handle contact on defense, that's going to enhance you or enable you to actually allow the software to be functioning optimally. The framework to make this all possible for you, I'm going to break it down to you in 3 categories. The first thing would definitely be learning how to program your workouts in season and off season. I think many players who was like me once will think that I would want to be fresh the whole time. I would want to stay fresh. I do not want to be fatigued from the gym work, so I'm not even going to do the gym work today. But in reality, when I was training in the season, I was still lifting very, very heavy, and the only thing that I was managing that I tried to keep low was my volume. And that's the biggest key difference between an off-season program and an in-season program. Having a good strength coach not only will help you improve your performance on the court, but also reduce the chance of your injuries. And the second thing, if you're trying to gain size or gain more strength, it definitely is going to come from the nutrition aspect. Most players I've seen, especially in college, they were not fueling themselves properly. They were eating fast food most of the times. They were getting takeaways. They were drinking juices with high sugar content, and frankly, their nutrition just was appalled. If I were to prioritize for you, you definitely want to hit your protein goals for sure. Many players that I'm working with now are not even eating enough protein in their diet, and definitely not enough carbs. Having good fats in your day is also very important as athletes, and please don't think that fats is bad. And finally, the thing that really helped us with athleticism and defensive footwork was training plyometrics. I usually would not recommend plyometrics in season, but if you really do adjust the intensity well enough, I think it's very, very beneficial in terms of how it helps your tendons to recover a little bit better. It gives them a little bit of locomotion to flush out the waste, to get blood into those areas, to help with healing, as well as just getting better tendon health. And having some low intensity plyometrics could also really help with grooving your movement patterns better, helps you move better on the court, allows you to finish in a variety of ways because you're learning how to jump off both feet, single leg. I think there definitely is a place for it, but you just need to adjust it very, very well. And some of the clients I've been working with, such as Richard, who plays at HKU, is having some really, really good progress with his ankle, with his knees, as well as his athleticism. While another athlete that I always work with, Oliver Su, he's a national Hong Kong player, and after working with him, his defense has improved tremendously, and he's been able to secure some contracts from overseas, and right now he's just getting more athletic than ever. I know that playing at a high level of basketball is very, very difficult, especially if you're in the States, but I think it's very, very possible if you have the right mentorship, right program, and right person to really guide you. If there's anything that resonates with you throughout this process, throughout this video, maybe you're struggling with injuries, struggling with finding the right training program, struggling with a flood of information on social media, such as on YouTube and Instagram, and you're wanting to find someone who's able to put all that information for you, if you're wanting to find someone who's been through that process himself and able to help other hoopers to become who they want to be, I would really recommend you booking a discovery call with me. On this call, it's going to be relatively short. We're just going to be using this opportunity to know each other a little bit better. I'm going to ask you a few questions, and you'll also have the opportunity to ask me a few questions. If you're a hooper who's really, really wanting to make these gains, I really hope that if you watch till the end of the video, that I was able to break down on how I was able to make it to the collegiate level, and hopefully I was able to help you out a little bit.